Did you know that all of the public transport in Luxembourg is free? So today I'm going to go on a little adventure. Got my friend here with me. She loves being on camera so much, Elina. And yeah, we're going to go check out a village in Luxembourg, see what it's like, see what all the fuss is about. We're going to take one of the free buses, go out to this village right near the border with some other countries. So let's do it. Should be fun. Wow, look at this modern tunnel bridge over the railway for a relatively small city. Yeah, it's got quite a big railway station.
Between those two buildings, that's really nice.
Should we go have a quick look?
Yeah.
I think we got some time before we take our glorious bus. So Luxembourg, it's quite an interesting place actually. It's a real mishmash of the cultures of the countries surrounding it. It's a landlocked country, so it's surrounded by Belgium to the west, Germany to the east, and France to the south. And it's really reflected in kind of the feel of the place. French seems to be the most predominant language, but there's also Luxembourgish, which is a little bit like Dutch really. Looks quite similar to me. But people say it's close to German, which is also spoken here. And when you're walking around the streets, you hear all different languages. Portuguese perhaps the most, because Luxembourg actually has a large community of Portuguese immigrants. I think it's somewhere close to 16% of the population are of Portuguese origin. Only about half of the population are actually Luxembourgish. 650,000 people in total live here. So now we're going to go find our bus. It's a 33-minute journey where we're going. See if you can guess. Okay, we found the right place. The 315 goes from here. This bus actually goes to Germany. It ends at a place called Nenich in Germany. You can see the big D there means that we're going to Germany, but we're not actually going to Germany. Well, we might end up there by accident, who knows. Luxembourg, they're so advanced, you can get your COVID certificate using a QR code on the bus stop. Welcome to Schengen village. About 4,000 people live here. It's the village where the Schengen agreement is named after. A vineyard opposite the bus stop. The busiest place in Schengen so far seems to be this petrol station, full of French and German cars getting cheaper petrol. I think it's massive for such a tiny village, it's huge. What do you think of the local architecture? So this large bridge here carries people over into Germany. Just over the other side there you can see Germany. Of course, when we come to this part of the world where the borders are open now and cultures are mixing, we have to remember why we do this now. And here in Schengen we have this monument to the population of Schengen in memory of its dead sons, victims of the war 1940 to 1945. Of course, this is why we create peace in these times now. It's why we open up the borders, get people meeting each other, so they don't go to war again. Even though we're in a service station, we just fill up with alcohol and cigarettes because the taxes are cheaper here than over the border in Germany and France. You can see what Luxembourg's basing its economy on. Why is that?
It's always there. It's Reglement Luxembourg.
Le Reglement Luxembourg,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sure. Okay, sorry, I will not film anymore.
No, it's okay, thanks.
Thank you. We only want to show what the country is like.
Because the price, someone can make all the price and have, oh, I make better price. Maybe like this. But it's,
Right, okay.
now you can,
I'm sure they have eyes as well. They can come and look themselves without looking in my
Yeah,
camera.
with the big brain. Yeah, it's forbidden. Sorry.
It's forbidden, okay, no problem. Yeah, apparently we're not allowed to film here. He said, Luxembourg reglementation, people can make the prices cheaper. Well, I said to him, I'm sure people can come and just look. And now as our punishment for filming inside the petrol station, it started raining. Now it's time to try something I've never tried before. It's a cookie dough Kit Kat chunky. Look, cookie dough. Let's see if it's any good. Oh. It's got like kind of a coffee flavour, yeah?
Yeah, it's not cookie dough.
Yeah. So it says cookie dough, it tastes more like coffee, but okay. Interesting, I didn't expect this to be such a Luxembourg specific Kit Kat. Here we go, you can see it's 2 kilometres to France and 1 kilometre to Germany from here. European monument. Just down here by the river, they've got a couple of slabs from the Berlin Wall. Obviously, symbol of an open Europe. A Europe where you can move around easily. Go study, live, love, work in whatever country you feel like. So just to the right of this island is the tripoint where Luxembourg, Germany and France all meet together. You can't actually access it without a boat because it's in the middle of the river. Of course, you get into Germany, the country of railways, and immediately you're faced with a nice railroad. Look at that. Nice little station down there for your onward travel into Germany. But we're not going to do that. We're going to turn right here and we're going to go somewhere else. Those of you who watch my videos having fun on the Moselle back in the summer, that's the Moselle River there. This is a bit further upstream. And here's a fun little fact for you about Germany. In the cities, 50 km/h speed limit. Outside the cities, on, you know, the regular kind of main roads, 100 km/h. And then you get to the motorways, the Autobahn, and it's 130 kilometers. But that's not a speed limit, that's a recommendation. You can go as fast as you want in theory on them. That's why it's in this blue square instead of this red circle. They're talking about introducing limits on them. I hear Sebastian Vettel is in favour of it. Wonder what the Germans think of that. And so now, guess where we're going? And so here we are now at the French-German border. The signs are a bit of a mishmash. You've got some French ones there, some German ones there. Just underneath on the same signpost, in fact. It's hard to pinpoint where the exact border is. Maybe it's that post. We'll have a look on the maps in a minute, but you can see here, this is Apach, and that's a typical sign welcoming you to France. They've got a massive Eiffel Tower to welcome you to the French Republic. We were looking up ahead and we thought that looked like a border control, but yeah, maybe it's just roadworks. It could be a border control in COVID times. I guess they want to check who's coming in and out of the country more than usual. So we're at a weird point where on this side of the road we're in France and that side of the road is Germany. And the border over the road is just there, where you can see that blue sign welcoming you to the Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
To me, they're going to say, oh, come in, oh, lovely to have you here. To you, they're going to say, fuck off. Go back to where you came from. Go back to where you came from. Right. Brexit.
So there is some kind of border control going on. They've got the police on the frontier. They seem to be stopping some cars and not others. I wonder why. No problem with the police for me. They just nodded at me, said bonjour. I said bonjour back. She said they wouldn't let me in because of Brexit. Well, look at me. I'm walking in French territory now. Our eternal enemies, well, frenemies, let's call them, the French, and they've let me in. Here we go. Welcome to France. See, look, you've got a 130 limit on the motorway here and an 80 kilometer limit outside of the city, so you've got to drive a bit slower in France. Bienvenue au pays des trois frontières. That means welcome to the country of the three borders. A bit late to welcome us there. We've been walking around here for about an hour now. It's definitely a confusing kind of area. Look, you've got here written in German, French, Mosel Wine Street. And then all the information here is in French. Oh, and a little bit in German as well. It does feel very different to Schengen, the town where we were before, over the border in Luxembourg. You can see the other side of the river from here. Over there you can see some trees, that's Luxembourg. And the vineyards in front of it, that's France. So this is where the border of Luxembourg juts back off to the west. And now we're fully in France. And this is Apach station, kind of abandoned. I guess there must be a few trains there every day, but not much going on at all on this grey Wednesday afternoon in October. So this train station here, 5 trains a day in each direction between Trèves, Trier in Germany and Metz and Thionville in France. Busy place. Could do with some of those European Union regional development funds, couldn't it? Look. This exact level crossing here marks the French-German border. So we've got France here and Germany here. You can see a Deutsche Bahn train just in the station up there in the town I can't remember the name of. And then back there we've got Apach. The tripoint where Luxembourg, Germany and France meet is just the other side of this island. Right, let's head back over into Luxembourg then and I'll tell you a little bit about the Schengen area. Mikhail Gorbachev. Just seen a school bus go over the bridge. Imagine living in one country and going to school in the other, just over the river.
5, 6. Lovely.
Too many old white men in European politics. Look, you've got Sarkozy there, the bling bling man, the bling bling president of France. And you've got Queen Merkel. And yeah, a few women, mostly old white men. Time for a bit of a change maybe. I was in 2007 with the Treaty of Lisbon. If you go back, you got the Treaty of Amsterdam, when the Schengen area first really came into force. You got the Treaty of Maastricht, which established the European Union as we know it today. Back then with only 12 countries, but now up to 27. Obviously 28 at its height. This was 1985 when the Schengen Agreement was signed here in Schengen. That's why it's called the Schengen Agreement. Nice to see a lady in the centre there. No Margaret Thatcher though. Obviously my country, the UK, didn't join the Schengen area. Wanted to maintain its own borders and its common travel area with Ireland. And this picture is from the Treaty of Rome, and you can see it's completely men, not a woman in sight there. Establishing the European Coal and Steel Community with its 6 original members. These 3 here, so Luxembourg, Germany and France, and then Italy, the Netherlands, and what was the other one? Belgium, the country I live in, of course. And back here, in 1950, the Schuman Declaration, where Robert Schuman, who lived around this part of the world, said it would be a good idea for the European countries to stop going to war with each other and to start cooperating more. At the time, coal and steel were the main industries of these Western European countries, and the way forward they saw was to integrate the economies first in these industries, and then gradually going out into more areas like aviation, like travel, like we see now, so that they wouldn't go to war together, they'd be dependent on each other. And then as you come down here, you've got flags of all of the European nations who participate in the Schengen area. So these are not all European Union members. You've got Iceland there, for example, Norway, Switzerland I can see as well. Liechtenstein should be somewhere as well. Yep, there's Liechtenstein over there. And they're all members of the Schengen area, the common travel area, where you can live, work, love, study, wherever you want in any of these other countries. If you're a citizen of one of these, you can move to any of the others to search for work. And there are 26 countries participating in this, formally. And there's also Monaco, San Marino and the Vatican City, who are de facto part of this because of their agreements with Italy and France respectively. Andorra, curiously, isn't even a de facto member because they do enforce some kind of border control. And I've been to pretty much all of these countries except this one, Liechtenstein. Maybe we'll go there on one of our adventures soon. So what do you think of the Schengen area? Good or bad thing? I think it's mostly good. The thing is though, is that countries like Norway, like Portugal, like Finland, they have to rely on other countries for their defence. If you're going to have a common visa policy, a common policy governing who can come and live in your country from outside of the Schengen area, then you've got to rely on your partners, your 25, in fact 28 other countries to help you out in implementing those rules. So there's got to be a lot of trust. And look how cute is this little living monument. People come and put a padlock on here, I guess for transnational relationships, people who have been brought together, whose relationships have been possible thanks to the achievements of the Schengen area. TNS, Jelulanuta, Chirk Kirsten, Donata Yolina, so that looks like a Lithuanian and maybe a Norwegian or a Danish name to me. Obviously if you go back, what, 50, 100 years ago, lots of these relationships wouldn't have been possible. It would have been impossible to travel between these countries so regularly as we do now with our cheap flights with Wizz Air, Ryanair, EasyJet, all over Europe. It's progress, isn't it, I guess? And over here is free entry to the Schengen European Museum. Okay, it's kind of interesting, but just a load of writing. Not really anything interesting. Oh, look! This is something I used to work on back when I worked for the EU. The Erasmus Plus mobile app. I actually approved the graphics for this, can you believe it? I remember a few years ago we were sending these out. It's not up to date now, but they've kept it up here. This is a border between Finland and Russia. Finnish here, Swedish, German, English. Here's a Luxembourg border sign, and then you've got here a piece of the pole from the border between Germany, Poland and Czech Republic. And then a Luxembourg boundary marker, from the Luxembourg-France border. Some of these borders are still up, some of them are not really there anymore thanks to the Schengen area. Caps from old border posts. Czechia, Hungary, from the guards. Slovenia, up there. Iceland, Greece. Goodbye Schengen, with your close borders and colourful flags and little museum and shop where you're not allowed to film. Dad ass. Apparently it's something to do with the Luxembourgish police. Well, here's our train back to Brussels. And here's a top tip for you if you ever find yourself in this part of the world. Look, what you do is instead of paying 20, 25 euro, whatever it is for a single ticket to Brussels, instead buy a ticket to Arlon, the first station beyond the border in Belgium. It's only €2.50 because obviously the public transport's free in Luxembourg, so you only pay for the little bit of line that you travel to in Arlon. And then if you've got those multi-tickets like I've shown you in some of my previous videos, where any journey in Belgium is only €8.30, just stay on the train, activate one of those, and you've got all the way to Brussels for less than €11. Even cheaper than taking a Flixbus. And I'm really excited because it's a double-decker train. Alright, this little trip to Luxembourg's been fun. Take care guys.